There is a price war going on in the Nintendo community right now. So many people are going back and forth, fighting, arguing, are these prices justified? Is this what Nintendo should be charging? Because this really just set it ablaze today. I guess, pun intended, sure. Apparently, Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green leaked online to be playable on our Nintendo Switches, but not on the Nintendo Switch Online stuff. It's not free. You gotta pay $20 to buy these games separately. These are actual eShop titles, which is funny because Nintendo has not allowed us to do this with really any of their virtual games in the past like we used to with the Wii eShop and the Wii U eShop. This is just for these two Pokemon games. Now, this is actually confirmed because after leaking it, the Pokemon company actually officially announced it with a trailer. Now, we know Pokemon Day is next week, literally a week from today being next Friday, and the rumor has it's probably going to be another Pokemon Presents where they'll probably even announce Gen 10. So it seems like some employee jumped the gun with this announcement, but this is a pretty big deal. Like, fans have been asking for this for a very long time, and I can't believe it's taken this long for the Pokemon company and Nintendo to work together to put this thing out there. I mean, I think we all thought it was just going to be on Nintendo Switch Online, you know, on the GBA games list, but apparently not. You gotta actually pay for this, and that's why people are highly upset. And not only do you have to pay for it, you have to pay $20 for these games. Now, fans are divided, and I've seen this happening pretty much the entirety of the Switch 2 life cycle so far, which has only been like 7 to 8 months, but it's been a lot. Now, I think we all thought Nintendo was going to slowly ease us into this thing, making $70 games the new staple for big games only, but it seems like they just jumped the gun even more, because first off, Tears of the Kingdom was the first $70 game Nintendo has ever released, based on today's money value. So this was a big shock for a lot of us, but I don't think too many people mind, because it was Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, for Breath of the Wild alone, I would have paid $80. That game took me like months to finally put down. I mean, multiple months, half a year to finally put that thing down. But then 2 years later, Nintendo comes in with Mario Kart World and says $80? This is where they announced that they'd have variable pricing. Certain products are going to just be more expensive than others. So of course, you're paying for the name Mario Kart instead of, you know, what's actually in said product. Because no, Mario Kart World is not worth $80. It's not even worth $70 in my opinion. This was the first one that really got people mad. I mean, so mad in fact, the entire 3 days of Treehouse that followed after the Switch 2 Nintendo Direct, the entire chat was filled with drop the price being spammed every second. So it's safe to say people definitely were not happy with this, but it just kept getting worse. We found out Nintendo will start charging for things like Switch 2 editions, like up to $20 for an old game that was already $60, but also as low as $5 for something like Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition Switch 2 edition. That's the name. Now, it just pretty much makes the game run better at full 60 FPS and makes it look a slightly bit better on Switch 2, but some games have already gotten free updates. For instance, if you have Switch Online, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, you get a free update. You don't have to pay anything. And Mario Odyssey got a completely free update regardless, even if you didn't have Switch Online, so you didn't have to pay anything for that. So it's kind of strange that we have to pay $5 for a Switch 2 version of a remaster of a Wii U game. Wow. It's not only that though. We thought Drag and Drive was going to be a steal at $20, but it's not even worth $5 in my opinion. I mean, you get one court and you just get one basic game mode, and there's really no real customization outside of a couple colorways, and that's really about it. And don't forget Switch 2's Welcome Tour, which was $10 for a literal manual. Literally a manual for your Nintendo Switch of how it actually works. And a lot of people were outraged with Nintendo trying to convince us that Mario Tennis Fever was worth $70. Now, for the most part, we were fine with it until the game came out, but once it came out and we saw that the content that it had, we all pretty much can agree that Mario Tennis Fever is a really good tennis game. It's probably my favorite tennis game since Power Tennis, and may even be better than that one to me. But it's just the core gameplay, because the extra modes and stuff that you have around the tennis stuff is just not worth it. The story mode is only 2.5 hours long, and the rest of the game is just tons of filler to keep you trying to play the game for longer than you should. This is an easily $50 to $40 game. So I guess I just don't understand what this variable pricing means. Is it big names like Super Mario, for instance, is always going to be an $80 game? The next 3D Mario is probably for sure going to be an $80 game. The next mainline Zelda game, for sure, an $80 game. but Mario Kart is a spin-off of 3D Mario. It's a spin-off of 2D Mario at that. So is the next 2D Mario as well going to be $80? How does Nintendo actually justifying these prices? Well, let me break it down for you real quick, because I feel like that would make things a lot easier just to show where these prices should be. I still might make an entire video on this to better explain it, but let's start off with remasters. A remaster of a game meaning barely any changes, something like Luigi's Mansion 2 or Donkey Kong Country Returns. Again, these should be $40 games still. These are very old games from the 3DS era, and after playing these games on the 3DS already and still owning them, I can say even Luigi's Mansion 2 looks pretty daggone identical to the 3DS game. It still almost looks like a 3DS game just slapped onto the Switch. With bare minimum, literally no effort given to these remasters, these should just stay at $40. Now, remakes, I feel like you can get away with bumping it up to $50 to $60. It depends on the remake. Now, if this is a completely from the ground up remade game and remade experience, something like Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, completely remaking all the assets, maybe even adding some things to the battle system, almost feeling like a reimagining of sorts. But since it's technically still an old game, I still feel like $50 is a good price point, but I could even see them getting away with $60 if they do something especially really ambitious, something even like Final Fantasy VII's remake and Rebirth. What if they did that with The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, completely remaking the game from the ground up? I would not have a problem with it being priced at $60, as long as there's actually effort given and even some extra content added. For instance, Paper Mario added a couple extra boss battles and extra missions and stuff. That stuff is always awesome to have. Now you have your spin-offs like your sports games and party games. I don't count the RPGs because those are sometimes full-fledged stories and experiences. They can be priced as full-fledged games. But for the sports games like your Mario Baseball, they don't make that anymore, but tennis and golf, these games should be $50, dude. And the same thing goes for Mario Party. You cannot justify pricing a sports game the same price as something like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. Yes, Tears of the Kingdom is the same exact price as Mario Tennis Fever, which is just absolutely absurd. Until Nintendo starts giving these games fully developed story modes that give you over 10 hours of actual gameplay within those story modes, tons of side content, tons of different courts because there's only like 8 courts in this game, and tons of characters, customizations, unlockables, online features, there's no reason in the world something like this should be priced at $70. Now, Kirby Air Riders was fully developed by Sakurai and filled to the brim with tons of extra features, tons of cool things that you get to do outside of the main racing, tons of different modes and online features. That game had a lot of content for its $70 price tag. I still feel like it should be around $60 as a Kirby spin-off. It's a racing game from a mainline Kirby series. But until we start seeing that level of quality from the sports games and for the Mario Party games, there's no reason they should be priced at $70, because of course the next Mario Party game is going to be a $70 game. It's also interesting when you look at the sales so far, at least for Japan, are incredibly low for Mario Tennis. The install base is just about the same as it was for Tennis Aces right now, and Tennis Aces was way higher than this. And for one of my only friends that has a Switch 2 and is thinking about buying this game, I have to always be completely honest with him. It is a really good tennis game at its core, and it's addicting to play online against people with the different ranked modes, but it's just not worth $70. After spending about a little over a week online non-stop and playing through all the modes, I'm already feeling like I've got my fill of this game. And then sure, if you want to charge $70 for mainline series and new games, go ahead, there's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure that the content is representative of that. It's all about the content and how much is actually in the game that you're spending this money for. And I don't even have a problem with them charging super high prices, like $80 for the next mainline 3D Mario or 3D Zelda, if it's truly worth that experience. If it's a huge, massive world and experience, then sure. Like for instance, if the next 3D Mario is just another 3D World style title, or like a Galaxy linear 3D Mario experience, or shoot, even if it's a sandbox Mario game, I don't think charging $80 is going to be worth it. That's why I truly believe the next Mario game kind of has to be open world, because they have to justify that $80 price tag if they're going to do it again. We don't know if they're going to do it again. It could have just been for Mario Kart World, and it did have bundles for a while, reducing that price by a large margin, by like literally $30. But still, yeah, this next 3D Mario game, I'm expecting to be this huge, massive experience and like anything we've ever seen before from Nintendo. And as somebody that's not a huge Pokemon fan, meaning I played some of the games, I can't really understand why they would want to charge $20 for this. Some people said it's because they don't want you cheating the system with the save states and stuff. They also said it needed to be a separate thing for it to work with Pokemon Home, and I'm like, okay, sure, make it a separate thing, charge for it, I don't care. But $20 for old GBA games? Really? $20. I feel like $5 to $10 would have been enough, but you know what? It's Nintendo. You know how this goes. And I see some people online defending this still, which is just funny to me. Like, who cares? They could have charged a lot more. That's like, oh, yeah, I don't want to get into that. What do you think? Maybe you just don't care and you're fine with it. Let me know in the comments down below if you think $20 is a justified price for these old games. Do you think it should have been more? Do you think it should have been less? And what do you think of the pricing with the current Switch 2 games and console itself right now? Let me know down below. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you head out, and I hope you all have a blessed day. See you guys.